Hello, everyone. This is Dr. Wolf. I'm going to walk you through a paper that I've edited. I want to make a couple of points first. If this is your paper, you did a very nice job. So don't worry about what being shown on screen. Secondly, it doesn't matter what the content is. The purpose of this video is just to show you some really common APA mistakes that I want to help you understand what to do correctly. So we're going to jump in and hopefully this will be of value. Okay, so first thing I want to point out, this person does have a title page, so good job on that. However, it's not formatted exactly correctly. So I kind of made that comment. What you can do is go to APA style or Purdue OWL. I know a lot of people like those. I personally go to APA style. Just I think it's a little bit faster for me, but again, you use whichever one you like. But definitely check out how your title page should be formatted. The thing about academic writing, we want to keep the same format every single time because people are looking for information. They don't want to have to sift through a paper and say, okay, where is this? So be sure that you format according to APA every single time. And I can tell you that every question you have and even questions you don't have can be answered by going to any viable APA site, Purdue OWL, APA style, Excelsior. I'm sure. Well, UO People definitely has an APA writing module. If you're not at UO People, your college, I'm sure, has access. So just take advantage of it, learn the rules, and then you don't have to keep learning them, right? So this is what a title page should look like. You have a title. Notice it's in bold. You want to have page numbers, your name. Um, if your paper is peer graded, you leave off your name. If it's not peer graded, you need to include your name. And then notice the academic department, your university, the class section, and title, your instructor, and then the due date. So not the day you're submitting the paper, but the due date. Okay, so that is the proper format. This person did pretty darn well. It's just not exactly correct. Okay, so now we move in. So they've done a good job putting their title again. All paragraphs need to be indented, the first line. So make sure that you do that. Also, do not use block style for your margins. So something that you might want to do with Microsoft Word, if you're using that as your word processing software, which I'm assuming most of you are, is get your setup consistent. So every time you open Word, it will be the same for you. So what you want to have on your settings, and I'm trying to pull up a paper here. It's just moving a little bit slowly. Let's see. Here we go. All right. So you, in your paragraph settings, you want to have double space. Okay. Always. You want to have 0 points here. So what Word defaults to is something like this and then multiple. Okay. And that's not right. And that's why this person has extra space between paragraphs. So when you're setting up Microsoft Word, this should be 0, oops, 0, 0, 0, 0, and double space. And then just say set as default. And that will always come up, all documents based on normal. And now every time you open Word, you're going to get double space, which is what you want in your paper, and you're not going to have that extra space between paragraphs. Okay. All right. So again, left justification. So the way you set that up in Word is right here. So do not use block style. That is not correct. Obviously, don't use center. So left justify, align left your margins. Okay. And then Word is going to automatically set your tab correctly to a 1/2 inch, and that's what it's supposed to be. So don't change that. Okay. So then we go through here. This is real common. So comma use. When you have a conjunction like and, or, but, so, if you have a sentence on one side and you have a sentence on the other side, you need a comma before the conjunction. So, for example, I'm aware you've joined us is a sentence, and then I will be mentoring you is a sentence. So, we need that comma after school, after the word school. Okay, so that's a real common mistake, and you can go into Purdue OWL, what I do to find the rules on commas. I've got it saved, but if you go into Purdue OWL and do a search, okay, and you can say, you can say comma use. Okay, so you can do all these exercises. It's a great learning tool. But here I'm just going to say commas quick rules. Okay, so because I'm going to pull that up, and like I said, you can definitely save these, but we do have problems. A lot of people have problems with commas. It's sort of like they think every time they take a breath, they need to put in a comma, and that's not correct. All right, so independent clauses, that means a sentence on either side of the conjunction. Okay, here, hi, comma, Dr. Wolf, comma, it's, whatever. Okay, so take these rules. And, the other thing about Microsoft Word, it'll underline things if you didn't do something correctly. So pay attention to what's underlined in blue. So when it's underlined in red, it's a misspelled word. When it's in blue, you've got some kind of grammar or punctuation mistake. But learn the rules so you don't have to keep learning them, right? Okay. So, I didn't highlight this. Do not use conjunctions in APA. So you need to spell out I said conjunctions. I meant contractions. Do not use contractions in APA. Okay, so what they should put is this does not mean. Okay, so I know that, so here's another one. Okay, spell it out. All right, so here what I was saying, remove that extra spacing, and that's based on the settings in Microsoft Word where you have 00 and double space. Okay. All right, here all level 1 headings should be centered, so you can get that information from APA style or Purdue OWL. So if we go to paper format, page headings. Yeah, I'm sorry. So they go in different levels. All right. So this is a level 1 centered. This is level 2. So say your main topic is whatever this title is, and then within that title or within that topic, you're talking about different subtopics. That's when you would be on the left. Okay. So this person, though, this is a level 1 heading because it's a new topic, so it should be centered. Okay. And then again, always indenting the first line of a paragraph. Okay, here, reference is the title of the article that they read. So here it is. So that should be in italics to show that it's a title. So what I did was I showed that person when you use a title, because you don't have an author, you put the title in quotation marks, and notice that the comma is inside the quotation marks, because periods and commas or full stops and commas go inside the quotation marks. Okay. Here, this person needs a semicolon. So they have two sentences on the other side of a conjunction. So here the conjunction is for instance. And so these instructional strategies is a sentence, and then direct instruction is a sentence. But because they have a comma after for instance, this comma should be a semicolon. Okay. All right. So here we go. A, a dash or a hyphen is not a formatting device in APA. So this person should use when you have a list of things like they do here, you should have a colon, or if you number them or you put them, number 1, concept teaching, 2, discussion, 3. This is just a simple list. So really all they need is a colon. Okay. Here, headings should all be capitalized. All major words in a heading should be capitalized. So if we go back to here, notice all major words are capitalized. Now, notice the letter A is an article. That's not a major word, so we don't want to capitalize it. Otherwise, all your words in a heading should be capitalized. Okay. Here, this is just a comment about the content of the paper, so I'm not going to go into that because this is just a particular paper. Okay. Here, this is the first time this person is using an acronym, and the reader may not know what it means. We always assume that they don't. So this person should have spelled out ATL and then put in parentheses what ATL means. Now here, IB, it's understood that the reader knows what IB means, although I would say you can always spell out something the first time, even if it's a common term among your readers, because you don't want to assume that they know what you're talking about. Okay. Here's just another example. I don't know what DP means, or the reader may not. Okay, again, need to capitalize the letter or the words. Okay, here, when you have more than one source within an in-text citation, the sources should be alphabetized. So Matsuga should come before Western governors. Otherwise, this is done correctly. Okay. There's another example, DP, what is that? Okay, here, what I pointed out is this person has written their paper in first person, which is fine. Okay. APA actually prefers first person, but there are some schools that require you write in third person. But this paper is written as a conversation, but then all of a sudden, this writer has switched to talking about someone instead of to them. They're talking about them. So that's something that should be correct. It needs to be consistent throughout the paper. Here's an example of another example where this person needs a comma. Learning as a continuous process. Teachers like a mod, 2 sentences on either side of the conjunction. So, or independent clauses is the correct term. Anyway, need a comma before the conjunction. Okay, now the references are not all formatted correctly. They're done pretty well. Again, do not use block style. This should be centered because it's a level 1 heading. Do not hyperlink words. Always provide the hyperlink. And I know this is a really long one. That's okay. We don't hyperlink titles or words in APA. Always provide the exact URL. Okay. The other thing about hyperlinking, your URLs either should all be hyperlinked, like this person has done, good job, or none. So sometimes we end up with hyperlinks that aren't formatted as a hyperlink because the margin or something. So this person did a good job hyperlinking all their URLs. It's just we don't do that, even if it's a super long URL. Don't hyperlink words. Okay, and then we only capitalize the first word of a title, so that should not be capitalized. Okay, and then this is a journal, so this needs to be italicized. Okay, the other thing, retrieved from, the only reason we use that is if we have a website that might change. So for example, this is a university. I'm not sure, but anyway, this organization could go in and change what they wrote on this web page. So you use retrieve from to say, hey, when I looked this up, here's what it said. I don't know what it says now, but when I looked it up, here's what it said. This is a journal. It's not going to change. The article is permanent. So you don't really need the retrieval date. So, I personally would not have included that. It's okay. You absolutely can, but I would not include that information unless you're not sure if something's going to change. So like this one, it's not going to change. It's a journal. Okay. Here, it's a university, so it's probably not going to change, but it might. So that would be an example of when this is okay. And then this is not formatted correctly because, the words are capitalized. So overall, this is a very good paper. It's well written. The formatting is there are just some, unique APA styles. And I know everything pretty much because, I teach and I look up and I've written papers, so I know a lot of stuff. You, as a student, will need to keep referring back to your, references. Like I said, whether it's APA style or Purdue or Excelsior or whatever your college is, and that's okay because eventually, before too long, you're going to learn what's correct, and then you can just write your paper and not really have to think about it. Okay, so I hope this has been helpful to you. I try to produce these paper or these videos semi regularly. I haven't in a while because I just haven't needed to, I guess. But let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And hey, happy writing.